You're watching the channel, odds are you've seen advertisements from brands like Chase or Amex or Citi, offering you free travel experiences, whether it be hotel credits, airline credits, lounge access, in the case of Amex, even things like Equinox or Saks Fifth credit. And a lot of times you might be thinking, how exactly are they able to give all this stuff away seemingly for free and still remain profitable? I know I thought about this a lot, especially as you get into the world and you start seeing the advertisements, especially going against each other, trying to outdo one another as they try and get you to become a paying customer. In this video, we're going to break down the economics of these credit card companies and talk about just how exactly they remain profitable despite giving away all these things for free. So I think the best way to actually talk about this in effect is to use the Chase Sapphire Reserve as an example. When it first came out in 2016, it was by far one of the most popular travel credit cards to ever come out. It's a metal credit card, and so when it came out, it was so popular, so many people signed up that they actually ran out of the metal to print the card on. They actually had to start staggering people signing up just to keep people coming in, signing up, getting approved. That way they could mitigate and get resupplied on the metal to actually print out these cards. So that just kind of shows you just how popular this card was. And despite having a relatively high annual fee, JP Morgan, Chase's parent company, still lost money when this card first came out. As a matter of fact, they lost $500 million in the first year of having this card be out, and $300 million of that was in a single quarter alone, which can be directly attributed to the launch of this card. Despite that, Chase was more than happy to take these losses. In fact, the CEO at the time was quoted as saying he'd wish they'd lost even more money, as that would have been a signal that more people had signed up for the cards and had gotten access to those premium benefits. In fact, the CEO at the time, Jamie Dimon, was quoted as saying that they had lost $400 million at the card launch, but he had wished that they had lost even more because that would have signaled that more people had signed up for the card and even more people were in the Chase ecosystem and become Chase's clients. The long-term strategy here was to capitalize on knowing that they had offered extremely disproportionate benefits in relation to the annual fee. When compared to the Amex Platinum, it was a lower annual fee and had comparable perks and rewards, so they knew that a lot of people would be interested in signing up. Long-term strategy, they were going to raise the price of the annual fee and then slowly whittle down the welcome bonus and the sign-up bonus that they were going to offer with the card. Even with all that in mind, they still delivered a premium product that people were willing to sign up for and willing to keep in their wallets year after year. But the main thing that Chase is concerned about isn't actually the annual fee revenue, as that actually is not that much money and really doesn't take into effect the perks and rewards that they give out. As a matter of fact, it would take 4 to 5 years simply to pay back that initial sign-up bonus with just the annual fee alone. What Chase was more interested in is the merchant fees. For those of you who don't know, merchant fees are fees that credit card companies charge businesses every single time that their credit card is used at that establishment. So anytime you use a Chase card or an Amex card at a business, that business is actually taking a 1 to 4% transaction fee on that transaction just to give you the convenience of using a credit card. Now, for you, the consumer, that relates to a little bit higher price that you're actually paying in the long run, but this is actually a big way that these credit card companies are generating revenue. So if you think about $500 million loss at the outset to give away all these incentives to get people to sign up, ends up making them billions in the long run, because every single time that people are swiping the card, getting the sign-up bonus, Chase Sapphire Reserve, right, you have to spend $4,000 in 3 months. So let's say you get the 3% car usage fee, that's the merchant fee that they're charging, right? The consumer would have to spend $48,000 to cover that initial sign-up bonus, which again, in 1 year time frame is unlikely to happen on a single credit card. But again, it's a premium product that people really liked and they kept using year after year. So it's not unlikely to see that after year 2, year 3, they are easily breaking even and then becoming extremely profitable on these cards, because for them, they're willing to give you these points and perks and rewards because they know the amount of money that they're going to generate from you swiping that card is vastly going to outweigh the perks and rewards that they give out for free. Now, if you watch this channel and you know in the Miles ecosystem, credit card companies are afraid of people like me and, this type of space because they pose a risk to their bottom line. Now, this is a very small portion of the population, credit card churners. These type of people sign up for the card, get the welcome bonus, reap the benefits, the perks, rewards, and then they end up canceling their card. And so that they are not, reaping back the benefit long-term for these companies. Now, Credit card companies like Chase and Amex have slowly gotten better at detecting, this type of behavior. If you open and close accounts frequently, you're going to be blacklisted and flagged, and you're going to likely not be able to get sign up for these cards. But again, it is something that poses a threat to their bottom line. One thing I've noticed with Amex in particular, they have this thing called pop-up jail, which specifically targets people who are known to take the maximizing approach of getting the most out of their credit card in terms of perks, rewards, and benefits, while paying the least in terms of fees, late charges, and all these different ways that credit card companies attempt to make money out of their customers. All right, let's step back more broadly and look at ways that credit card companies make money. According to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the main money-making revenue stream for these credit card companies is actually late fees and interest rates. Now, if you know anything about credit cards, you know that their interest rates are extremely high. If you make a late payment, they will sometimes be in effect of 16 to all the way up to 30% I've seen on some credit cards, which can get out of hand extremely quickly. The thing about these interest rates, though, is that they are easily avoidable if you are responsible. But credit card companies know that without the physical, tangible feeling of handing over money in exchange for purchases, you're just using plastic, or in the case of some of these other credit cards, metal, you really don't feel that same connection to the money that you're spending. It's just numbers on a screen. It doesn't really feel real. So they take advantage of that psychological element and push people in a way to spend more irresponsibly than they might do otherwise. And again, the case of these higher end travel credit cards, they're going to tie points and perks and experiences to spending. So that way you are incentivized to spend more, maybe even beyond your limits in some case, which can get out of hand quickly and lead you to paying a lot more in the back end in terms of interest rates, fees, and everything else. I know for me, a lot of times when I'm on the fence about making a purchase, sometimes I might rationalize it as saying, oh, I'm going to earn points that I can use for travel later on, which might lead me to spend a little bit more money in the moment than maybe I otherwise if I didn't have a card that gave me some perks and rewards for spending. In a way, it can feel almost gamified when you're earning points in exchange for spending money, because again, you're thinking about what I can go ahead and spend these points on. But at the end of the day, that money is still going to be spent, and you're still going to be ultimately less better off than you were initially if you had not made that purchase. So again, it's a psychological game that they're playing, but if you are responsible, you can avoid a lot of these fees. Now, one thing else I want to talk about is just annual fees. Now, a lot of people think that these annual fees actually compensate for these perks and rewards that these credit card companies give out. That's actually not true. Again, as I just talked about with the Chase Sapphire Reserve, that high annual fee didn't really break even for the card, and it really won't break even multiple years after you first get the card and get that initial sign-up bonus. A lot of times, this annual fee is more of a way to filter out people who might not be a good fit for the card company. They know that if they're targeting people who are willing to pay $500-$600 every single year for a card, odds are they make more income and they're willing to spend more money that they can make back with those merchant fees. Again, it's all a tactic to make as much money as possible. One other way that credit card companies make money is for balance transfer fees. Now, this doesn't really apply to some of these higher end credit cards, but let's say you have a balance of $1,000 at, let's say, a 10% interest rate. Sometimes you can transfer it to a different account with a lower interest rate. You pay a fee for that exchange, and that fee is a way that they can make money, although it's not a huge source of revenue for them. And lastly, late fees on your credit card every single month can incur late fees, which again stacks, you owe interest on that as well. So we have a change of venue here, but let's say you're in a weird category of card user. You're not irresponsible with your money, and you're really only in it for, say, the perks and benefits of these cards. These people, I don't want to call them credit card hackers, if maybe not the best term for it. Not credit card churners per se, but people who just optimize their card usage to get the most value possible while spending the least amount of money out there. I know I definitely fit into this category, trying to get the maximum value out of my card. Whenever I make a purchase, I always consciously think, how can I get the most points, most cash back for this purchase? And I will selectively use cards only for those types of purchases. I know I use Amex Gold for food. I use the Platinum for flights. I like to use the Chase Sapphire Reserve for hotels. I strategically pick to get the most cash back and points for every single type of purchase. That way I'm maximizing the use of my card. People like us in this sort of space are a big threat to the card company's bottom line, because in terms of payout, in terms of the points and benefits and everything, we are actually making them lose money in a lot of ways because you're responsible. So you're not owing late fees or interest, but you're also getting the most in terms of benefits and perks back. Honestly, that's my goal for you guys, to be able to learn how exactly to use your card to the best of its ability, get the most out of it so that you guys can travel further, farther for less, cheaper, or even free in a lot of cases. So if you're more interested in learning how to do that, stay tuned. Other videos will be coming out in the near future where we'll talk more about booking flights, searching for reward availability, and all the things in that space. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the topic of this video. If you did, please leave a comment down below. And thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe.